What makes Nolan's movies so unforgettable? Why do they share an inherent similarity despite their diverse subjects? What is their common subtextual philosophy? Are there unique technical features that define Nolan's style? Why are concepts like time, mind, subjectivity, identity, belief, and reality so widespread in his works? And why are his cathartic moments so emotionally satisfying and profoundly relatable? Nolan is one of the greatest directors of our generation. He respects his audience by creating multi-level, complex worlds on a multitude of subjects, solves them with nuance, brings the viewer inside the maze, and leaves so much to figure out. After 12 films, their $6 billion income, and numerous awards, including the 7 Oscars he won for Oppenheimer, Nolan has mastered and expanded his unique style of storytelling, establishing himself as one of the most popular filmmakers of the 21st century. In terms of technicality, Nolan's films are made with creativity, precision, and attention to details, as well as matured, unique styles of cinematography, music, and special effects. In thematic terms, they explore a wide range of existential, ethical, and epistemological concepts such as the subjective experience, distortion of memory, human morality, the nature of time, causality, and construction of personal identity. We'll explore 6 of his widely used components in this video, so hit the subscribe button, sit tight, and enjoy. Number 1. Nonlinear timelines. Nolan's core philosophy is the idea that we're all somehow trapped in our perception of time, and as a result in our perception of the nature of the world. Therefore, his worlds are a representation of a reality where time is not just a linear axis on which we travel, but a dimension with a variety of manners. In Memento, 2 timelines go head-to-head from 2 opposite directions, and the climax is in the middle. In Inception, multiple timelines move in parallel. In Dunkirk, 3 timelines run with 3 different speeds. In Insomnia, this story happens in a place where it's always daytime, as if the time had stopped. In Tenet, the possibility of inverted entropy reverses the flow of time. In Interstellar, Nolan uses an ultra-complex concept called the imaginary time that defies causality. And in The Prestige, Following, and Oppenheimer, he simply uses a typical non-chronological storytelling to create suspense and a subjective viewpoint, and melts the presence, the past, and the future with each other in an indistinguishable manner. Number 2. Conflicted protagonists. Nolan's protagonists are never binary. They're morally conflicted gray characters who are usually somehow involved in some form of deception, duplicity, or trickery. Commissioner Gordon and Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight lie to others. Cobb's job in Inception is to plant the seed of a false reality in a subject's mind. Leonard from Memento deceives himself to suppress a painful truth. The protagonist in Tenet has fallen to a plan of his future version, and Oppenheimer is literally and psychologically trapped in the consequences of his multifacetedness. Take Oppenheimer for instance. For the intricacies his character's duality had, Nolan took an extra mile to write Cillian Murphy a first-person script of the film to establish a genuine emotional connection with the character. That's how important his character's arcs are. A first-person script. You know how odd that is? It's like, I open the door, I pick up an apple, I see someone, is he supposed to come towards me? Stuff like that. This is why a significant number of Nolan's philosophically challenging and rich stories lead to endings that are morally ambiguous and complex. Number 3. Subjectivity. Nolan's heroes constantly seek a breakthrough to an objective reality and see it as a destination. They believe there's an absolute truth out there they can find, while what he actually wants to say is that the answer is not just understanding the universe completely detached from us, but rather what we decide to believe from a new level of objectivity found during the movie, and whether or not we choose it as our internal worldview. His heroes are ideally those who accept that the motivating factor in their lives is not something that is objectively true, but something that is personally and emotionally important to them. The clearest example of this pattern can be seen in Carl from Inception, who decides to leave the spinning top that determines what is real and what is not, and accepts his own definition of reality, which is him uniting with his kids. Another example is Leonard in Memento, which goes the other way around. Through the whole movie, he is relying on his tattoos and Polaroids to find the real murderer of his wife, when what he actually needed was to accept that he was the one who did it. In essence, his films represent a journey of cognitive breakthroughs as characters navigate their own definitions of reality. Number 4. Propelling music. Music is the heartbeat of Nolan's films. It is the propelling force of his narratives. His collaboration with Hans Zimmer and Ludwig Göransson, along with his unique taste of the feeling he wants to create, has mesmerized and delighted the viewers with every single movie. He captures the audience with his liberating music and at times lets it take control of entire scenes. The momentum of his films is deeply defined by the structure of his musical pieces. He gets very creative with the music, and we all know why. There's something with music, some weird feeling and connection with our memory systems that entrenches a scene in the deepest parts of our minds. Even bad films stick with us if it has a unique score on it, let alone Nolan's stuff. Talking about getting creative, in Interstellar, without revealing the plot, he had asked Zimmer to write a score about a father leaving a child to complete an important job. Imagine that. Add these little nuances to a brilliant characterization, and you know why we were so much emotionally invested in this movie. Either it's a singular instrument played or gathering an entire ensemble, his movies have extraordinarily astonishing scores that transcend mere background noise and serve as an emotional conduit, enriching the storytelling by guiding emotions and fostering strong connections with characters and themes. Number 5. Practical in-camera effects. Nolan believes that no matter how close to reality a CGI scene is made, the audience can consciously or unconsciously feel the difference with the real world. That's why he does whatever possible in his power to shoot all his films on camera and with practical effects. He minimizes the use of computer-generated imagery to very necessary refinements and enhancements, and that's why it's so hard to tell them apart. And that's why he's won 3 Academy Awards in this category. From designing super complicated sets to crashing a real airplane to a wall, from creating entire tesseracts and gravity-defying houses, to going in the oceans and the sky with real ships and fighter jets, Nolan shapes authentic and realistic worlds, and you can feel it, even if you don't understand it. With him, it's not even just the sets that should be real. He generally tries to be as authentic as he can. He brought the Nobel Prize-winning physicist Kip Thorne to create the interstellar world as scientifically accurate as possible. And as I said, you feel it. You feel those little details one way or another. The cherry on top of all this genuineness is the groundbreaking scope and resolution of IMAX camera, which Nolan uses all the time to create scenes that never leave our minds. Even more impressive is that Nolan doesn't use the grandeur of IMAX for the mere visual charm of it, but to create a higher level of resonance with his characters and creates breathtaking scenes from the smallest details in the movie. Number 6. Intercutting Scenes. Nolan uses cross-cutting based on a musical concept called the Shepard progression. It consists of ascending notes on a scale, where varying the volume of different elements of the scale creates the illusion of continuous and endless ascent. It sounds and feels as if they're constantly going up in pitch, even though they're actually just repeating. In terms of editing, as one of his storylines is peaking, another one is building, and the third one is just starting out. This is also something his extensive use of non-linear timelines demand, as him switching between those timelines with the style of Shepard progression creates a constant rise in the intensity of narratives. There are many other widely used elements in Nolan's cinema, such as using inserts, which are little objects with deep narrative value, or putting the audience in the middle of the events, or his extreme close-ups, which are pretty uncomfortable considering the size and noise of IMAX, as he doesn't even use zoom lenses. In conclusion, Christopher Nolan's cinema is defined by its exploration of complex philosophical themes, non-linear narratives, intricate storytelling, unique technicality, and morally ambiguous characters. Through his films, Nolan challenges our perception of time, explores the subjective nature of reality, and presents protagonists who grapple with deception and morality, or antagonists you can completely sympathize with. His work invites viewers to ponder existential questions and consider the nuances of human experience in it. With each film, Nolan continues to push the boundaries of storytelling and directing and solidify his legacy as one of the most influential filmmakers of our generation.